get, post, put, patch, then delete. So whenever the request is sent from the front end to the back end, it is through the HTTP. Using the standard HTTP methods, the API is going to send the request. What this HTTP methods actually do, they are going to tell the backend server what should be done with the data, what type of action needs to be performed, what should be done with the data is what our HTTP methods are going to tell. It is going to tell the server, the backend server tells the server what to do with the data, In the sense, our thread operation, whether you want to read the data or you want to create the data or update the data, or delete data. What type of action need to be taken, what to be done with the data is what our HTTP methods are going to tell. Now let us see what each HTTP method is actually telling the server, what meaning it has. So do you remember everyone why the get method is used to? Get method is used, as Venkatesh correct, get the data. Whenever we want to fetch the data, from our database, the server, we need to send the request in the get method. From the front end, the request need to be sent in the get method. Yes, correct, Subbalakshmi, Sivadut, correct. So why this get method is used to? Whenever we want to fetch the data from the server, we are going to make use of this particular get method. It is basically the read operation used to fetch the data from the server. Next, coming to the post. Why this post method is used to? Whenever you want to send, yes Namrata, correct, create new data, yes Sivadut, user is supposed to send the data to the server, yeah. Create the data, we need to create the data in the database, right? That time I need to send the data. The data needs to be sent from the front end to the back end. That time we are going to make use of this particular post method. Send the data and create that data in the database in the server. Used to send data to server and create new record. New record will get created. Coming to the post, your post and put. Remember this point, everyone. Your post and put both are used to update operation. Whenever you want to update an existing resource, existing record, you are going to make use of your put and patch. But when to go with put and when to go with patch? For example, whenever you want to update the complete record, complete model instance, the complete record, all the fields. your name or whatever the fields are present in the database, all the fields if you want to update, then you can go with the put. When you need to go with the put, you are going to update all the fields. All the fields present in the database, if you want to update, you need to go with the put. If you are updating partial record, in the sense partially, only few of the fields, if it is getting updated, then you can go with the patch. Patch is for the partial update, put is for the complete update. Both are used for the update operation itself. Used to update the complete record. Used to update only specific field, not the complete record, only the selective field. So this is patch. Coming to delete, as the name tells, it is used to delete a record. Whenever you want to delete the data, you can make use of the delete HTTP method. Used to delete data or record. So this is what the HTTP, each and every HTTP method are used for. Get, post, put, patch, delete. So get the data from the server. Post, send the data to the server and create it out. Put and patch used for update operation. Your put is used to update the complete record, whereas patch is used to update a specific field. Coming to delete, it is used to delete the data from the database. It is used to delete the data from the database. These are the HTTP methods. Okay, next we have the next concept, that is HTTP status code. HTTP status code. So once the response has been, once the request is successful, or it might be anything, what my server is going to send, the server is going to send, the backend server is going to send the status codes. The status codes will be sent by the server. So what this status code are going to tell, whether the request was successful, what happened to the request, was it proceeded, was it accepted, or was it failed. Everything is going to be decided by looking at the status code. Status code, it is a number. It is a number which will be sent as a response by the server. The server is going to send a response as a status code. Seeing that this status code, we are going to make out whether the request was successful or it was rejected. The server is going to send the status code to tell the front end whether the request was successful or failed, to tell the front end whether this request was successful or failed. Depending upon this status code, we are going to design our interface. Depending upon this status code, we are going to design our interface. So this particular status code is very important. Whenever we send some request to the backend will send the response in the status code. Now looking at the status code, we need to make out what happened to our request. So it is very important to know what each status code is meant for. Okay, HTTP status code. HTTP status code. What is it? It is a number. It is a number. Are numbers sent by the server. To tell whether the request was successful or failed. Whether the request was successful or failed, it is going to decide. So now let us discuss few of the status codes. So already you know that is very famous status code 404. Yes everyone, what does 404 mean? We have come across this browser and search for a thing that is not present, then you will come across this particular status code 404. Page not found. In the sense, resource does not exist. So next we have 200. 200 okay. In the sense, request was successful. So this one you will be able to see. Whenever your request was successful, will get successfully, it will get accepted by the backend. In the front end, you will be able to get this 200 OK message. That means that the request was successful. Whenever the request is successful, you will be able to get this message. Next we have what other things we have? Yes, Ranjit. Screen not visible. So next we have 401. 401, what is this 401? You will get 401 when you are trying to access something for which you don't have access. If the user is unauthorized. Yes, correct Navjot, unauthorized. If the user is trying to access something, if he is passing an invalid credentials, you will be able to get this 401 status code, unauthorized. User not authenticated. Next you have 403. 403, do you know everyone? 403 is for forbidden. If there is no access for a resource and if you try to access it, you will be able to get this 403 forbidden. No permission you have. Yes, access denied. Correct, Subbalakshmi, access denied. No permission to access resource. No permission to access the resource. 200, 401, 403. Yeah, I have 400. I have one more, that is 400. Bad request. That is bad request. If some of the fields are missing. While passing the request in the URL, we will be sending the request, right? If there are some missing fields, some of the parameters, the data has been missed, or you have sent the data in a wrong format and the required format is something, you will be able to see 400 bad request. Missing fields. It's few of the parameters, the fields are missing. Invalid request. Yes, Subbalakshmi, there is some invalid data that we are sending. Wrong data. And next we have 500. The internal server error. Whenever your servers crash, if there is some issue with the backend, you will be able to see the 500 message, that is internal server error. Internal server error. Crashed. You will be able to get this when the server crashed. So still there are so many status codes. These are the few status codes which you usually come across. So still there are so many status code. Whenever you usually come across these type of status code. One is whenever the request gets successful, or these things only you will come across. This is coming to the status code. It is going to tell whether the server is going to tell what happened to the request. You will get to do what happened to the request. 420. I don't remember 420. Search and check out Sid. I don't remember regarding the 420. Joking. I don't know 420. As I told you, that data transfer between the front end and the back end should happen in the JSON format. But when we are writing the logics, all those things, in which language we are writing the logics? In the Python. Now, before transferring the data through the API, we need to make all this conversion. All the conversions need to be done by the developers before sending the data through the API. It might be in the front end or in the back end. If you are sending some data from the front end to the back end, then you need to convert the Python data to the JSON data. If you are sending the data from back end to the front end also, there also you need to make the conversion. Python to the JSON data. You need to make the reverse conversion. Once you are getting the JSON data, again you need to get back the Python data from the JSON data. So very important part is your data conversion. So first let us go from the back end to the front end itself. Let me draw the diagram. Let me how it is going to return like this. Like this it is going to return. It is not going to return the object. Yes, Rishikant, correct. So what it is returning, like this it is returning. It is not returning your query dict, or it is not returning the data. So what it is returning, it is returning the object instance or the model instance. What it is returning, it is returning the object instance or the model instance. Model instance. Model instance. Now what we need to do, by looking at this, will you be able to come to know what data it is holding? No. If you apply indexing, you will come to know what data it is holding. That also, if you are knowing your field names, then you can use those field names and fetch the data, or else you will not come to know. So what it is returning, whenever I fetch the data from the database, it is always in the form of model instance itself. Even if you go with the all method and filter method, they are going to return you the query set. Inside that query set, again each and every record will be present in the form of object instances or model instances itself. So what you need to remember? You need to remember that whenever you are fetching the data from the database, it is going to return the model instance or the object instance. Now can you send this model instance or object instance directly to your front end? No. If you send directly to the front end, they will not be able to understand what this is. It will not be able to make out what this model instance or object instance is holding. So what we need to do, the JSON data needs to be sent through the API. Before converting it to the JSON data, first of all we need to convert it into the Python data. Python native data we need to convert. It is in the form of objects. We cannot easily understand what data it is holding. So what we are going to do, we are going to convert this model instance to Python native data. Python native data. Native in the sense nothing. Python all the data types itself. It is going to usually return the list, dictionary, or list consisting of dictionary. Any of these things only it will usually return. List, dictionary, or list of dictionary. Usually these data types only it will return. We need to convert the model instance to the Python native data. This particular process, what I told you, converting instance to Python native data, is known as serialization. We have a terminology by the name serialization. What is the serialization? It is a process of converting Python data, a model instance to Python data. The process of converting model instance to Python data is known as serialization. How do you perform serialization? Serialization is performed through the serializer. We are going to make use of serializer to perform the serialization. What is serialization? Once again I am repeating, the process of converting your model instance or object instance which has been fetched from the database to the Python data. To the Python data is your serialization. We are converting the model instance to our Python data, and to make this conversion, we are going to make use of serializer. What we are making use of? We are going to make use of serializer. Yes, we are going to make use of serializer to perform the serialization. To perform the serialization, we are going to make use of serializer. And the next data to the JSON data. JSON data. When I convert it into JSON data, I will be able to get like this. Name. If I have a name field, I will be able to get like this. Role. Like this, JSON data will get prepared. And what is this process? The process of converting Python native data to JSON data. This is JSON renderer. Rendering into JSON. What is that process known as? The process is known as rendering into JSON. Where is it? What is this process? This process is rendering into JSON. Rendering into JSON. Rendering into JSON. And to perform this process, what we are making use of? JSON renderer. We are making use of JSON renderer. JSON we are going to make use of JSON renderer to convert Python native data to the JSON data. Through the API, only the JSON data need to be sent. What data I will be getting from the database? It will be present in the model instance. So first I will convert the model instance to the Python native data through the serialization using the serializer. Using the serializer, I am converting it to Python native data. After getting the Python native data, what I will do? I will convert it into JSON data. I will convert it into JSON data. The process is known as rendering into JSON, and I will be using the JSON renderer. Now this JSON data can be sent to the front end. This JSON data can be sent to the front end. This JSON data can be sent to the front end. This is your first conversion. How the data is getting transferred to the front end from the back end. clear everyone? Yes, Vendesh. Is a process of converting model instance to Python data. Whenever I fetch the data from my database, it will be in the form of model instances. By looking at this, can you make out what data is present inside it? No, it is not possible. So what we are doing, we are converting it to Python data. It will return you the dictionary, list of dictionary or the list. So any of these data type it is going to return. So how do you perform it? It is through the serialization process. What is serialization? It is a process of converting model instance to Python data. To perform serialization, we are going to make use of serializer. So from where you are going to get this serializer? We have our REST framework. The Django REST framework is going to provide us with the serializer. We need to create the serializer and we need to make use of that serializer. So when I start with the practical class, I will explain you how to create the serializer. The developer has to create the serializer and using that serializer he can convert the model instance to Python data. Is it clear everyone? Yes. Now let us see the reverse process. As you know, now I want to, this is fetching the data. You are going to fetch the data, how to fetch the data from the database. Now you want to create the data into the database. In the front end, user is entering the name and roll number. That data will come from your front end to the back end. In which format? Again in the JSON format. You have this particular data, name Indumati, roll number 12 in the JSON format. It is now present in the backend. Now can this data get directly stored in the database? No, it is not possible. The JSON data cannot be directly stored inside the database. We cannot directly store the JSON data into the database. Then what we need to do? We need to go with the reverse process. We need to convert the JSON data to Python data, then Python data to model instance, and model instance will get created inside the database. We need to go with the reverse process. JSON data need to be converted to Python native data. Again the Python native data will get converted to model instance and model instance will be stored inside the database. So what is this conversions called? The reverse conversion. When the data comes from the front end and we need to store it in the database, we are going to perform few different things. That is, from JSON data to Python native data, we are going to convert it using we are going to convert it using the process is known as parsing. This is known as parsing. And what we will be using, we are going to use the JSON parser. JSON parser. JSON parser, what it is going to do? It is going to convert the JSON data into Python native data. When I get the JSON data from the front end, before storing it into the database, what I need to do? I need to convert this JSON data into Python native data. The process is known as parsing and I will be making use of JSON parser. I will be making use of JSON parser. Now this Python native data need to be converted into model instance. This Python native data need to be converted into model instance. The process of converting model instance to Python native data is known as serialization. Now the reverse process, that is Python native data to the model instance. So it is deserialization. Serialization from model instance to Python native data. Now deserialization, it is Python native data to the model instance. Python native data to the model instance is known as deserialization. Deserialization. So to perform deserialization, what we will be making use of? We will be making use of the same serializer itself. We are going to make use of same serializer to perform the deserialization. To perform the deserialization also, you are going to make use of same serializer. So this is after getting the model instance, it will get stored, created inside the database. This is when data comes from the front end. It is a bit confusing as these are your new terminologies, but working with these things you will get a hold on it. Simple everyone. Let me give you the first. Remember, model instance to Python. Use of serializer. Next, Python to JSON data. What is the process? Rendering. What you are making use of? Renderer. Next, the reverse, JSON data to Python data. It is parsing. And what you are making use of? Parser. Next, Python data to model instance. What is the process? It is deserialization. And what you are making use for it? Serializer itself. For deserialization also, serializer only is used. So these are the data conversion you need to do. You need to build the serializer and you need to make use of it. This is very important, everyone.